Thank you very much. I hope you understand my accent, but it's, I'm not going to apologise for it because it's what I am. I'm just going to tell you a bit about the Cull area initially, and then what's happened in the Cull area, and some of the things that the effects that has. I'm going to also talk about some of the policing that's taken place, and what some of the coal company operatives have been up to. And I will probably finish, and I'd like to read to you an appendix from the independent expert panel report, which talks about one poor animal and how it died. I'll warn you in advance, it is quite upsetting, but I think it's important for you to know exactly what's happening out there. The Cull area, just in case you don't know, it talks about West Somerset. That sounds like a little corner of the county. It's actually as big as the Isle of Wight. It's a huge area. What we don't know, and what I found out in fact on Monday, at our most recent police liaison meeting, was even the police don't know exactly where that area is. They don't know which parts of the area are non-participant in the Cull. So it's a bit of a mystery as far as they're concerned, and certainly a big concern for us. But in terms of West Somerset and the area they've chosen, does that have huge problems of bovine TB? No. Does it have huge amounts of cattle herds? No. Why and how was it chosen? And these are my personal views. What you've got to remember is that parts of West Somerset, there are areas which are large game shoots. And these game shoots have managed wildlife for some time. It'd be very convenient for them to be included in the Cull, because then would legalise what they've probably been doing for some time illegally. There's also large tracts of Crown Commissioners' land. And clearly government will influence who does not participate from those areas. So you've got large areas of land, in actual fact, have no cattle on them. Large areas of land all along the coastal belt. If anybody knows the Somerset coast along towards Minehead from Watchet, is all arable. There's no cattle there at all. Most of the hill farms are mixed farms with some beef suckler herds and some sheep and that sort of thing mixed together. But we haven't got large tracts of land used for dairy or for beef production. So it makes you wonder why West Somerset was chosen. And the answer has to be, it was easy to get participation from large landowners. And I think the same applied to Dorset. Dorset was a reserve area last year. Anybody knows Dorset, you've got two large landowners in Dorset, the Colchester estate, and you've got Oliver Wetlands land over on the east of the county, both large tracts of land, thousands of acres, people that are pro-hunting and pro-killing wildlife, not just badgers. Okay, so that's a bit about the area itself. The other thing you have to remember as well, that you might not realise, that West Somerset in particular has been a stronghold for stag hunting. And I think you'll find that although it's not supposed to go on, it still does. And certainly every other household probably has got a gun. It's not like a normal community. You've got large numbers of people who live with a gun, who operate with a gun, and the only way they can manage wildlife as far as they're concerned is with a gun. So you've got all those social problems to understand and to get over, and to understand why the area was chosen. So what actually happened when they started shooting? Well, you all know it happened on the bank holiday Monday in August. We just done a candlelit vigil in Minehead that night, and lo and behold, they were out shooting. And we were told, and I'm sure that Dominic will repeat this and make it more obvious to you, but we were told it was going to be an exercise that was self-financing and going to be free shooting to prove an alternative to cage trapping. Day 2, we found cage traps. So they obviously had them set from the beginning. It wasn't going to be a free shooting exercise. It was going to be how many badgers can we massacre exercise. Clearly that was the case. We also found initially they were using dogs after they shot badgers to track them down. And if you look at the IEP report, and I'll quote from it later, you'll find there are lots of badgers that had multiple shots. We don't know how many were shot they didn't pick up. Those animals would have crawled back either into cover or into their sets. And when they weren't allowed to use dogs, as they were initially using, they wouldn't be able to find them. So it's not a good scene, I can assure you, it's not a good thing to happen. And clearly, if you're in the community there and you care about wildlife, it's a hard job to live with it. It's almost, and I hesitate to say it, but it's almost like a war zone. It's continuous. The animals that you may have watched, the sets that you know about, the land that you've walked, suddenly becomes killing fields. You don't actually go out in the belief that there's going to be nothing happening to the badgers that you know and that you've seen and that you've watched for generations. They're all being shot, as many as possible, by whatever means they possibly can use, I can assure you. It is a living hell. Communities were split. You had family against family, people within families fighting one another, farmers against farmers, those for, those against, and those that dare put head above the parapet, like the farmer that came to us initially to do our vaccination programme. And I would just give a little plug there. We actually reached our 200th the week before last, badgers vaccinated in the Cull area. So we're doing well, but the farmer that came to us initially, he lost all his contract business. And his contract business made his farm viable. So you can see the effect that you have in the communities. We had people that are afraid to come out of their houses. We had people that park their cars to take dog walking and get car tyres slashed. Nothing to do with the Cull or us, just individual, ordinary, innocent people. So you can see it's a living hell. So you don't want it here. We don't want it anywhere, I can assure you. I'll come on to the policing now. I just mentioned we had a meeting with the police this week, which was rather productive and encouraging. But initially, we believed the police were biased against us. We believed the police were in the play of the NFU. We believed the police were pressurised by ministers and by departments and from the Home Office. But one good bit of news I can tell you, it's hot news. A press release will be going out tomorrow, but the hot news is that we were with the police on Monday, and some of you will know that in the Avon and Somerset Police Force, we actually had the NFU and the Cull Company in the police control room. We wondered why our cars were being picked up. We wondered why we were being accused of assault when we were actually the victims and not the perpetrators. But it's quite clear that the NFU were instrumental and they were influencing the actual police operation. But as of last year, and certainly not this year, NFU will not be in the police control room. A little bit about the patrols now. I'm actually chairman of the Somerset Badger Group. We also have Somerset Badger Patrols. We also have Somerset Against the Badger Cull. And I'm sure you'll also know that there's a similar sort of operation in Gloucestershire. And I'd like to think that speaking to you today, I represent them as well. But certainly there's an operation there. And we have people there that are not part of those groups. We have, I saw a black flag just now with a HSA on it. Where's it gone? There we go. HSA, other groups as well. And all I can say is, we salute you. The strength in Somerset, as far as I'm concerned, and the great effect that we had, because we did stop animals being killed, there's no doubt about that. The strength we had was that we have mutual respect for each other. We don't all agree with all the actions that everybody's taking, but we have mutual respect, and we work together, and we pull together, and that's where our strength is. The patrols basically are law-abiding. We never go out to break the law. I don't even think anybody goes out to break the law deliberately. But certainly there are people put off because of the policing last year, because you find yourself being stopped by the police, you find your car being checked, not just once, sometimes 3 or 4 times a night. And why were they stopping you? They had made all sorts of spurious allegations about what you might or might not have been doing, but the fact of the matter was that if you got anywhere near the colours, your cars were stopped, and you were delayed, and you were checked, and checked, and checked. That's not fair policing. All I can say is there's more information coming out tomorrow in a press release, but the police, I believe, understand the situation much better, and we can hopefully expect a more even-handed approach this year. How can you help? It's a long way from Somerset to Colchester. It took me 4 hours this morning, so I know it's a long way. And some of you will find that too far to go. Some of you will be able to come down, and everybody will be welcome. Everybody will have a part to play. Everybody will be most welcome. But if you can't come down, then do what you can to make the word, spread the word around about what's happening. Do what you can to influence people that might be able to help us financially. We have people that come down, give up their work for weeks, use their own petrol, and they find it very difficult. We try to help those people with accommodation and with fuel costs. So if you can donate, then please do. I don't want to make any more of a plea than that, other than saying we need help, and we'll always need help, but the ideal situation would be bodies on the ground. Because the more of you who are out there, your fluorescent jackets on, the more chance you've got of stopping something happening. Anybody with a rifle who's responsible will not shoot when people are nearby. That doesn't mean to say the irresponsible ones don't shoot, because we've had situations where we reported to the police where firearms have been discharged over the heads of some of our patrols. So you can see it's not, it's a bit like the Wild West at times. So we just got to make sure we get people out there and we get the police on our side. I'd like to read you now, just to finish. This is a report from the independent expert panel. It's about one badger that died. This badger, when it was post-mortem, like many others, had multiple rifle wounds. It wasn't just one clean shot. And those who don't know, the actual measurement of humaneness is that the animal dies within 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a long time to lie with a bullet that hasn't fatally killed you. 5 minutes is a long time to struggle to try to get away. This animal, it was shot by a shooter across a water-filled ditch. To get to the badger, which was 30 metres away when he shot it, he had to walk several hundred metres down to a bridge to get across the stream or the ditch to get to where the badger was. So I'm going to read the report to you verbatim. 0 seconds. After the badger was shot, it collapsed to the ground. 0 to 48 seconds. The body is off the ground, supported only by its front legs. The badger has no use of its back legs. The badger is trying to move. 49 to 50 seconds. Recumbent, lifting its head. 51 to 67 seconds. Immobile. 73 to 74 seconds. Front of body, off ground, trying to move. 75 to 76 seconds, out of view. 79 to 99 seconds, immobile. 100 to 360 seconds, out of view. Observer and spotter walk to badger. Contractor with gun stays at original shooting position. I would make the point that there was actually 5 shots fired by the shooter during the course of this event. 368 to 407 seconds, recumbent, lifting head. 408 to 412 seconds, out of view. 413 seconds, recumbent, lifting head. So we're now up to 400 seconds. This animal's still there, and he's been shot at 3 times, and he's still there alive on the opposite side of the ditch. 413 seconds, recumbent, lifting head. 414 to 428 seconds, unable to determine behaviour. 429 to 436 seconds, recumbent, lifting head. 437 to 476 seconds, unknown behaviour. This is an observer. This is an independent observer. We're not going to have any this year. 477 to 496 seconds, immobile. 497 to 594 seconds, recumbent, lifting head, during which period 2 further shots were fired. 595 to 603 seconds, immobile. 604 to 610 seconds, encumbering, lifting head. Contractor starts to walk towards the badger. 600 seconds. How many minutes is that? Exactly. Humaneness is measured by 5 minutes. 611 to 615 seconds, immobile. 616 to 679 seconds, recumbering, lifting head. This animal's still alive. It's still trying to get away. 680 to 708 seconds, out of view. 709, 731 seconds, recumbering, lifting head. 732 to 738 seconds, trying to move laterally. In other words, it's on its side trying to move. 738, 750 seconds, immobile. 751 to 770 seconds, recumbering, lifting head. It's still trying to get away. 771 to 776 seconds, out of view. 777 to 813 seconds, recumbering, lifting head. 814 seconds, shot at close range. contractor arrived at site of Badger. 815 to 870 seconds, immobile. 870 seconds, over a minute and a half later, Badger is confirmed dead. Now, that's the reality of what happened last year. That's the reality of what happened when there was independent observers. That's the reality of what happened on the ones that were observed. What about the ones that weren't observed? That's the reason why we've all got to work hard. We've all got to work together to make sure it doesn't go on. Thank you for listening to me.